Hi everyone, in this video I am going to teach you how to find the domain of a function. So in this video our focus will be on polynomial function only and the rational function only. Let's begin with the polynomial function only. These are examples of polynomial function only. So you have in number 1, that's x plus 1, that's a linear function. In number 2, x cubed plus 4 square minus 7, we call that a cubic function. This one, number 3, is also a linear function. And number 4 is what we call a quadratic function. So every time you see a polynomial function only, the domain, there's no restriction whatsoever. So that means that the domain will be from negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay, that's the domain, or meaning all, or x is the set of all real numbers. Let's continue. Now, when it comes to the rational function only, there is a restriction. And what is that restriction? The denominator cannot be equal to 0, meaning 2x minus x cannot be equal to 0. And number 2, 3x plus 4 cannot be equal to 0. So whatever the number that makes the denominator equal to 0, that is excluded from the list of the values of x that we can substitute to x. So to find that restriction, or to find that number that we don't need, okay, and by the way, the reason behind we don't want a 0 in the denominator is because the function will be undefined, so we will exclude that variable, or number rather, that will make the denominator be equal to 0. So to find that number, what we will do is just equate this into 0, or not equal to 0. So 2 minus x cannot be equal to 0, and we solve for x just like solving an equation. We subtract 2 on both sides. This will be negative x cannot be equal to negative 2. And of course, we want to make that x positive, so x cannot be equal to positive 2. Okay? Then how are we going to write that in interval notation? So to do that, the domain, okay, in interval notation will be from negative infinity until 2. Now we will use the non-inclusive symbol, which is a parenthesis, close parenthesis, union of 2 up to positive infinity. So this is the domain. So this means that all real numbers except x, or except positive 2 rather, can replace x, or can substitute x. Okay, let's go to number 2. We have here 3x plus 1. So our focus is on the denominator only. Here we have 3x plus 4 cannot be equal to 0. And then solve for x, just like solving an equation or any equation. Subtract 4 on both sides. This will be 3x not equal to negative 4. And then divided by 3 on both sides. That means x cannot be equal to negative 4 over 3. That's the restriction. So again, if we will write that into interval notation, okay, that will be from negative infinity. We'll always start with that until that number, okay. Again, we will use the non-inclusive symbol, which is the close parenthesis, because that means that it's not included. Union of negative 4 over 3 to positive infinity. So that will be the domain of number 2. Let's go to the next example. Here, sorry about that. We have 5x squared minus 20. So 5x squared minus 20 is not equal to 0. So this is how we set up the equation, or the inequality. We add 20 on both sides. 5x squared cannot be equal to 20, right? Then we divide it by 5 on both sides. Therefore, x squared cannot be equal to positive 4. And then we will find the square root of both sides to get rid of that exponent 2. So that means x cannot be equal to, what's the square root of 4? That's right, it's positive negative 2. There are two numbers that we cannot use as the value of our x, and they are -2 and +2, or positive -2. Okay, so I just separate those two numbers. And how are we going to write that in interval notation? So we will start again with -infinity, and the lesser number next, that's -2. Again, we will use the parenthesis, union of -2 to +2, union of +2 to +infinity. Okay. Next, let's go to the third example, or the fourth one. This is the third, so let's go to the fourth one. Here we have 3x squared plus 12, okay, cannot be equal to 0. So which means subtract 12 on both sides. 3x squared cannot be equal to -12. -12 divided by 3, divided by 3. So this will be x squared cannot be equal to -4. Okay, find the square root of both sides. So x cannot be equal to, okay, square root of -4. If you're going to use your calculator and find the square root of -4, it will result in an error. Okay, which means that here we're dealing with an imaginary number. Actually, the answer here is 2i. Okay, so every time you have that answer, that means our domain will be from -infinity to +infinity. Why is that? Because we're only talking about real numbers, and the restriction is an imaginary number. So which means all the real numbers can replace x. So that's our domain. Okay, the domain from -infinity to +infinity. Okay, I think that's it for the polynomial function only and the rational function only. Thank you for watching. I still have videos for finding the domain of what if it's a square root function only, squared in the numerator and in the denominator. So watch those videos. It's in my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.